Namaste. We now come to the last aspect of the delivery of the asanas. And this last part that I will share with you today is going to be the inversions. Not all of them are inversions. We'll also cover today Shavasana and some very important neutral poses. But the main aspect now is for us to complete the yoga practice, to complete this series of different asanas that you have been learning with what I would always recommend to have at the end of the class. I know that there are different schools of thought and different ways of practice that may interweave the inversions earlier in the sequence of asana. What I have seen in various styles and what I have felt that has worked much better in terms of physical, but also in terms of the tantric element, is that the inversions come at the end. So I've already explained a little bit when I've described the sequence of the asanas in Tantra Yoga. But basically, these inversions are like the highlight, really, somehow, at the end of the practice. I have to say, for myself personally, and I invite you to look at this for yourself, most of the yoga practice definitely has this meditative quality, but something shifts when we get to the seated twisted asanas. And I could say in some ways maybe it's just a program or an expectation, or like I'm kind of expecting that to happen somehow, because obviously when we get to these the seated twist, we're focusing more on the energy raising up, particularly to here and above. And then with the inversions, the energy is maintained in the higher centers, in the prana, held more within the upper body. And so, as you can understand from the knowledge of the chakras, this brings more of an expansion in consciousness. It brings more of an awareness in the higher aspect of our being. And so, like I'm saying, for me, there is a shift. Suddenly, there is that deep ability to meditate. I am in somehow not really kind of going into the fire so much. It's becoming more, okay, these asanas that we will share today can be extremely challenging for some people, but the quality of them is different. And I will share with you as well today variations that will still help you, even if you can't perform, for example, the headstand or even the full shoulder stand, in order for you to be able to at least taste some of the fruits of bringing this energy more to the higher chakras. And my intention also today is, like I've said, to just share with you a few other additional aspects of asanas that I would refer to as more neutral asanas. Okay, so let's move along with this and have a look at what we have. So we've gone through now, and as I've just reminded us, we are, and I shared this in the last session with you, the seated spinal twist of Ardha Matsyendrasana. And once this spinal twist has taken place, it's really helpful for the physical body, because it definitely needs to release the back after lots of back bends and various holds in this way. So somehow it kind of realigns and gets the energy moving to here, and then we move into these inversions. So I would always suggest that the next one after this, and they can go so beautifully together, after Ardha Matsyendrasana, is Salamba Sarvangasana. Salamba means the supported shoulder stand. So with Salamba Sarvangasana, we are in effect starting in this position. I'm not going to teach about the physical aspect in any great depth. So of course there are things that can be said about using props like certain blankets in order to be able to support the physical body, but I'm literally just sharing this now more from this tantric teaching perspective. So from this asana, from this preparation aspect to the asana, we are lifting up. Now, of course, you can, in fact, I'm feeling a little bit sensitive of pointing my feet to the mortis, because in the Indian tradition we would never point the feet. So let me feel this. I'm just going to explain about this and then I'm going to come up. So you can come into Halasana initially, clasp and bring the body coming up more onto the shoulders so that you can lift up, unless you just have the ability to lift your body up like this. So coming into this asana, if this is not possible for you to come into this direct pose, you can of course bring your legs over and hold the body in a very supported way like this. Of course, if you are on your menstruation or anything like this, you can just try a posture like this if you feel like this is going to be helpful for you. Now, when we're coming up into Sarvangasana, as you can see, I'm drawing my elbows towards each other. This gives more stability. It's definitely good. Always inviting you to close your eyes. If you like, you can even apply a very subtle ujjayi breath here. And the focus for the energy here is in Vishuddha chakra. If I stayed here long enough, you would probably be able to see my neck becoming reddened with the circulation of blood. And obviously, if there is an intense hold or flow of the blood and the circulation in a particular area, then obviously the prana will go there as well. So, because I'm in this inversion, everything is being drained down, everything is flowing down to the neck area. So that accumulation of prana here in Vishuddha chakra is extremely powerful. And obviously the longer you can stay here, the more you're going to be able to have the benefits of this. Literally taking yourself into a meditation, just breathing in with this subtle ujjayi breath and keeping an awareness on the accumulation of energy coming here. Just a little note, when you are guiding yourself or others out, come down in a very easy way. A lot of people collapse out of the asana and kind of lose control of the body. Maintaining this strength in the abdominal area will always allow you to leave in a more gentle way, and especially if you have held these asanas for longer periods of time, you're going to need to ease your body out gracefully, because it can be very jarring for the spine and for the neck to kind of come down in a very erratic way. So my suggestion is really work on strengthening here and coming out in a very graceful way. And obviously, when we come out of this, you'll find that the moment of awareness is usually in a lying down position. So you can simply close your eyes and rest in the awareness and feel the afterglow of the building of prana in this aspect of your being. Now, we can use the same or similar coaching cues of what you already have used in Ardha Matsyendrasana. So for Vishuddha chakra, obviously this is a neutral asana, we're not working on the lunar and solar side. We can just direct people to connect with the Akash element, which in Sanskrit you can refer to as the Akash Tattva. And by connecting in with the Akasha Tattva, we are expanding our awareness into spaciousness, spaciousness that can be experienced within the body, within the mind, within our whole subtle perception. Also at the level of Vishuddha chakra, as you already know, there is this really profound cosmic connection. All chakras have a cosmic connection, okay, because they are subtle energies in the astral body. So the connection is there. Every petal of a chakra has its cosmic connection. But Vishuddha is extremely specific for this. Vishuddha only takes its energy from the cosmic energy. And this is why it can be seen that there are 16 petals there in the Vishuddha chakra. It is an absolute kind of download of the different energies within the cosmos. Now, what those energies are, we start to go extremely into perceptions that are so vast, energies that are so vast in its potential, we cannot really define this. If you actually see the Bija mantras of Vishuddha chakra, some of them are profound mantras in themselves. And so these mantras encompass so much. And it is said that when somebody has this opening and activation there within the Vishuddha, that they are really open to all the knowledge and wisdom that is held within the universe. And some people have a reference to the Akashic records, that there is a particular resource, we could say, of information that is held about life and about manifestation, past, present and future. And that by connecting in with Vishuddha, it is more easy to be able to perceive this. Now, for me, I don't define it in this way. I would just simply say that you deepen your cosmic connection, and then obviously within the universe all the information is there. And if we open up our chakras as a whole, not just Vishuddha, we will make all this cosmic connection. And this is when it is in this profound statement to know thyself. And so opening up the chakras in this way is to know thyself. And definitely the level of Vishuddha chakra, to make this significant connection with cosmic energies, is to really lift ourselves out of the consciousness of what we could say is the normal consciousness of the planet. Really, at the level of Vishuddha, it becomes something out of this world. It is not perceivable for many people. And so it's good to have this awareness as a practitioner or as a teacher, because this level of being is not so accessible for many people. So you can simply, and I refrain from using words like the Akashic records and things like this in the teaching, I just keep it quite simple. You know, you can open up the energies to make connections with the different divine forces that are in and amongst the universe, but also recognizing that these divine forces are simply lying dormant in us. And through bringing more energy to the chakras, specifically here in Vishuddha chakra, this becomes awakened in us. Okay. Now, as I've already mentioned as well, there is a divine purity here in Vishuddha chakra, and by cultivating more of this energy, your everyday life, including from the absolute physical to the most subtle, will simply become more purified, and that includes the mind. So focusing on this can be a great inspiration as well, because Vishuddha itself, the name Vishuddha, refers to purity. when I'm in these asanas as well, sometimes it can be a nice entry point even to visualize space, visualize the depths of the night sky and the stars and all the formations of stars, just to really help you and help others to project into that. Because it is through that projection, it is through that inner connection, it can really help to pull you more into the awareness of that chakra. Okay? Good. Good, good, good. Also within this asana, there is the ability for the vayus to significantly change. Because of this inverted position, the energies are even said to just run down, not just from the internal vayus, but also from the chakras. They literally just come down and accumulate more in the Vishuddha chakra. So in a certain school of thought, it can be said that if there is more access in the other chakras, then it can be in some way fed into the Vishuddha chakra. It can nourish the Vishuddha chakra. So spending longer periods of time in Sarvangasana, and you can spend long periods here, even in some good systems of yoga like Iyengar. Easy can spend 20 minutes sometimes once the teacher has supported you to really get comfortable in the asanas. And this is because of the amazing healing benefits. I mean, okay, we're talking a lot of energy here, but just to invert the body and drain all the blood in this way and drain through the lymphatic system is really highly beneficial physically and purifying. So that in itself, the physical action of the body amplifies this purity. And yeah, it is definitely just deepening into the practice more and more as we start to move through these asanas. Okay, so I'd like to move us now into Halasana. Now, Halasana is a very interesting pose because it can be said that this is also activating the Vishuddha chakra, the plow pose, because when we come over into Halasana, there is definitely the same pulling on the neck, and maybe you haven't realized it yet, but actually when the body is in Sarvangasana or in Halasana, the chin is coming to the neck. And if you remember correctly, then this is an application, a natural application of Jalandhara Bandha. It creates that neck lock, okay? And so in Halasana, it's said because of the position of the head in this way, that again, the energy can come here and accumulate here. But quite honestly, because of the weight of the body actually coming over the head, so I will demonstrate now in a moment and you will see, and you can feel it for yourself if you're joining in as we go along here. The weight of the body in itself actually puts a different pressure in the area of the head. The energy moves from here and goes up into the head, and you can feel it. It's a significant pressure. And that pressure, at least for me and also for many others that practice this, can be profoundly felt here in the third eye. Okay, so let's just have a look at this. I'm going to come in a different direction so I don't point my feet towards the murtis on the altar. So we're coming in, so it's all the same principles, and what I couldn't demonstrate before, you can also do this for Sarvangasana, drawing the hands together in this position. Now as we come down, the toes can be on the ground,
You can have the toes curled under like this, or it can even be quite nice to have the feet in this way as well, just to have a different effect there in the feet. But we're not focusing on the feet here. The main aspect is that we can feel the energy move through the body and specifically come down to the head. Maybe it's because of many times practicing this, I naturally feel it in the head. But quite honestly, it is the pressure. As soon as the weight is coming over, that pressure builds within the third eye. Now, if you wanted to focus on a flow of energy, you can focus on that flow coming up through the legs, down through the spine, and running along to the third eye. But quite honestly, you can think that in the beginning, but I would just rest and keep a direct focus on the third eye. Having a sense of breathing into the third eye and exhaling from the third eye. Very good. Okay. Now, I will just show you for the sake of showing you now, because it's just an extra little addition that you can practice if you like. There's another asana that you can come very easily into from here, Karnapidasana. So if you like, you can always take the legs down in this way, squeeze the knees onto the ears, and hold this asana. This also brings the energy very nicely to Argan Chakra. Just one moment. This brings the energy very nicely to the third eye as well. And because of that compression of the knees into the head, it can become really a more meditative and I say the word in a positive way, a more pressurized effect there in the head. Okay, we're not necessarily going into a big teaching about that here. For those that have the manuals for this course, if you're doing the teacher training, you will see that we don't even refer to it, but I just share it with you because as part of your own practice, sometimes personally I really like just to come into that and then drop into it on an even deeper level. Okay, now as you can see, the feet were connected very beautifully to the earth. Now if you can't get your feet to the ground, you can use blocks, you can use cushions, you can even use a wall, anything to slowly, gradually get yourself down. Now this is a classic asana for me actually. It was very a pinnacle asana, a big learning for me because I couldn't get my feet on the ground without being in pain. And this was when I was in my early 20s. And I used to force my feet onto the ground, and I was really not able to meditate on anything apart from this feeling pain in my body. And eventually I told my teacher, and she was like, come on, come out, and so you're not feeling this pain. And I did that, and then within 2 weeks of doing the asana without pain, because I wasn't fighting with this pain, within 2 weeks I had the capacity then to touch my feet on the ground. So it's good to be aware of this, because if we are contending with pain in the body, then we are going to put up restrictions. There's going to be a mental resistance happening. There is going to be potentially an energetic
push and pull and even a block occurring, and certainly physically we run the risk of injury. So just find the best way for these asanas modified to your body so that you can practice safely and you can practice with a lot of ability to go deeper, because you are in respect to your body. It's what Patanjali is referring to. It is finding that comfortable seat, and then you can rest in your own true nature. If the seat is not comfortable, there will just be a push and pull with the mind. So when we are holding Halasana, we are dropping into a meditative awareness here in the third eye. Now this will be supporting you, as you know, the yin and yang energies, the lunar and solar energies end here. And so bringing energy here can create balance in the mind and balance within these energies. Bringing energy into the third eye can offer clarity of mind because of this balancing of the lunar and solar energies primarily, but also because more energy here, if it's in balance, can create more of an ability to concentrate. Most human beings suffer because they cannot be one-pointed in the mind and to really be absorbed in what needs to be absorbed into. Of course, we can be absorbed on social media and all of these things, but when it really comes to focusing the mind on what is necessary, especially in concentration practices of yoga, it is very good to see where the ability for yourself lies. So bringing more energy here, and this is what you can say and use as coaching points, is to just strengthen the ability to concentrate. It is to balance the mind. It is to bring stability and balance to the mind. It is to be able to expand the mind from functioning not just in the lower capacity of the mind, but in the higher capacity of the mind. The deeper we can go into Ajna Chakra, the more that we can expand from our day-to-day functioning in the lower mind, the Manomaya Kosh, into the Vijnan Maya Kosh, which is not accessible for many people, to be able to really drop into that resource of higher knowledge, that inner knowledge that is contained within all of us. This is it. It is sometimes referred to as the universal mind. And sometimes when we use these terms, we can project that out and think, yes, the universal mind out there. But the universal mind is exactly here, just lying dormant for most people. And if it is awakened, then okay, great, but it can still be opened more and more. But it needs this balance. We don't just want to blast open our third eye. This cultivation through the practices of our yoga can help to bring that stability to the lunar and solar energies. It can bring a spiritual maturity, a ripening of the mind, of the lower mind, so that the lower mind can deal with an expansion into more of a superconscious mind. So you can just take from this just some little points and cue points that you can use to inspire yourself or others on how to meditate on the third eye. And something that I like to do often as well in this asana, or whenever I am working within Ajna Chakra, is have a sense of breathing into the third eye and exhaling from the third eye. And you can even take that breath right into the center of the head, because the point of Ajna Chakra is in the middle of the head, because it runs up through Sushumna Nadi. So breathing in, taking this into the middle of the head, and then exhaling out, and using the breath, as I would always recommend anyway in asanas, especially if you need to stabilize your mind, to anchor it with the breath in the awareness of the chakra. Okay, good, good. So let's have a look at another couple of asanas. I'm going to open up a new little viewing chapter for this. So let's do that in a moment.